What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another tutorial. Today we didn't actually bend the world. I'm sorry about that. We actually created a new segment, but most importantly, we've created collectibles. So we now have all those coins inside of the segment being spawned randomly. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into it. So let's get started right away. We are going to open up the prefab folder. This is where we're going to be doing most of the work today, both in making a new prefab, which is going to be called the coin spawner, and also making different segments or adding to our segment. So we're going to start by actually right clicking on this one. Let's create a new folder and just call it coin spawner. Right now we only really need one, at least for testing purpose. Now if you want to take this further after that, you're free to do so. But in our case, we're going to be using a simple coin line, so a flat line on the floor, just for starters. Later on, if you want, we can have like some kind of little curve, an arc, any kind of shape you want to do with these coins. So I'll get started by creating a new empty game object, anywhere, making sure this one is at the center of the world. I'll give it a weird tag as well, why not? And I'll call this coin line underscore 5, because there's going to be a total of 5 coins. Now let's go ahead and lay down 5 coins right there. I'm gonna go under my do we have any coin? Yeah, under game we have coin. Let's go ahead and drag that here, put that beneath the coin line object. Now I'm going to reset this one to 0, create another one, duplicate. This one's gonna be on, say, 2 meters in front, another one 2 meters in front, another one at 8 in Z, or am I too far away? Yeah, I am. 6 in Z, and this one is going to be at 8. So I've got 5 coins, and those 5 coins are all separated by a total of 2 meters. Now, I'm going to go ahead, drag and drop this coin line. Actually, wait, we need to actually create a script first. Let's create a new script. This one's going to be called the coin spawner. And once we have that, let's go ahead and drag and drop this thing in the new prefab folder. Right, so we have the coin spawner right here. Going to delete. Actually, let's leave it there for testing purpose. We're going to open up the coin spawner. Now this one, simple script. I'd like to just do some random on it. So basically, are we going to be spawning this object or not? And how many coins could we spend? You know, just a little bit of settings so we have a little bit more power on what's going to be in the game. Right, so let's go ahead and clean this up. We won't need anything else other than Unity Engine. We're not going to need the start nor the update. And we are going to start by creating public int max coin. Right now this one is equal to 5. Okay, now let me explain what's going to be happening with this. Depending on where you want to be spawning this object, like if you want to be spawning it on top of a train, just beneath a slide, or like right after a slide, you'll be able to choose how many coins you want to be spawning. Now, by default, you can't go above 5 because we only have 5 in the prefab. Of course, you can increment that if you want, but this is what is going to be used for. So if you're putting that on top of a train and that train is really small, you might want to reduce that to, say, 3. But not right here, not in the script, on the actual prefab itself when we're going to be laying it down on the segments. Now, I'd also like to create a public float, which is going to be chance to spawn. Again, we're making it public, so say there's like a place you want to have 100% certainty that something spawns there, then you can put that on 1 in the inspector. Now in terms of making this work, we're going to need an array of game objects. I'm going to call this one coins. Then in a private void awake, I'll make sure to set them. And you'll see why I do that in an awake, not in a start. I'll explain all of that in a second. So we're going to be grabbing every single one of our children, and we're going to be putting them inside of the coin array. So what I do right here is I create a new game object array, and the size of it is going to be the amount of childrens we currently have. Now let's do a for loop on that. So for int I is equal to 0, as long as it's smaller than transform that child count, then we can go ahead and grab every single one of them one by using the getChild function. So I'll say coins at index e, which is now 0, is equal to transform getChild at index e as well, or sorry, I keep messing up these two, they're inverted in French. And then of course on the second loop, This is going to be equal to 1, 1, and then, you know, basic loop stuff. Okay, so the reason I'm doing this in, the reason I'm actually doing this inside of the awake and not on the start is because if I do it in a start, we're going to have to wait until this object is active before it does anything. And also, it's going to be repeating the start when it gets activated. Actually, it's not going to be repeating the start if it gets activated later on, which is something we want because we're going to be using the pooling mechanic. In fact, we are not going to be making our own pooling mechanic for this. We're just going to be on piggy writing the other one we have for the segments. So to do that, unenable is going to be our go-to function whenever we are putting this back inside of the scene. So in the unenable, we have to check first, are we spawning this object or not? Like, are we going to be spawning this coin line, or are we just simply going to be forgetting about it 100%? So if random dot range in between, say, 0 and 1, if that's bigger than, if that's smaller than chances to spawn, then I'm going to say return, because it's not meeting the criteria to spawn, it failed, and, you know, just return from there. Now, if we are actually spawning this object, we have to know how many objects we can be spawning. This is just like a little custom mechanic I like to put in there. It's not required. If you just want to spawn the whole thing, you can. And I think that's something we'll be doing as well for the arcs. Like, if you're spawning the arc, you don't really want to be saying, well, only spawn the 2 first one. You'll be spawning the whole thing, so the player is fully rewarded for making the jump at the proper moment. But in case we don't have that, and that just leaves me thinking right here, let's have a boolean, something that says force. So public boolean bool force spawn all, default to false, and if it's on true, then it's gonna force the whole thing to be spawned. So if for spawn all we have to do is simply something like for int I, actually let's do it for each in this case. So for each game object geo in coins, then simply say geo set active is equal to true. Now if we're not on for spawn all, let's go ahead and do a else statement and just do a little random function again. So int r equal to random.range in between 0 and the amount of coins we can spawn, so length, or is it that actually we have to use max coin, sorry. And yeah, so we have a number, and that number is going to be how many coins are we spawning. So just after that, we'll do another for each statement. Should we do a for each statement? Oh no, actually we can't do a for each statement because we're going to need the index. So for int I, as long as int I 0, as long as I is smaller than r in this case, then we're going to go ahead and say coins at index I set active true. Sorry about my brain being a little bit confused today. I just came back from a nasty cold. Alright, so one more thing we need to do is a on disabled. So when we're done, whether we collected the coins or we didn't collect the coins, we need to do something with these. Simply turn them off, basically. So for each, now here we can do it for each. So for each game object, the geo in coins, let's go ahead and say geo.setActive false. Alright, so that should be pretty much it for the script. Might have to come back, we haven't done testing just yet. But let's actually try this out in the game. So I'll be deleting it from here. I'll go put it somewhere in my segments. So I just laid down one segment right here, another one, let's put it a little bit further, and another one a little bit further again. And we're going to be dropping some coin spawner in there, see if it works. So under center 10, I'm going to be dropping this coin line. We can say only 4 coins right here is like it's good here, so let's do actually 3. Let's use only 3 coins here. We're not going to be forcing to spawn everything. Chances to spawn, let's make it something super high, like 0.8 for this one. Plus it's only 3 coins, so it doesn't really matter. And then we can like discard these 2. They don't really exist, they're never going to exist at that point. So I'm going to go under my center 10, hit apply, and we're going to be done with this one. I'm also going to be putting some, say, in this ramp. Maybe on top of the train, so this line here, and we'll have to figure out as well what is the proper height for these. Maybe the proper height would be something like, let's see. Is 2 perfect? I think 2 is gonna match just fine. Alright, so we can also put 3 coins here, why not? So max coin 3. I'll put the chances to spawn on, say, 100% here. And we're going to save this. And the other one, I'll just leave it be. Like, I don't need to have more than that to test out. Let's give this a try, see if everything spawns. And I have not tested this before. Let's hope that everything works. So we do see everything is working, except the fact that it kind of disregarded the max amount of coin. It just spawned the whole thing. So there is some mistakes in our script. And it feels like it just spawned everything. It didn't even matter looking whether it wants to be spawned or not. So actually I just realized that the thing that is wrong is the fact that right off the get-go they are spawned. Right off the get-go they are right there in the map, and we never really disabled them. So something we'd like to do is we're going to cheat. Head up in the awake, and in the awake we're going to call undisable. I know this is the callback, but at the same time, you know, it does exactly what we want. Or we could be copying this up here. Like we could say this instead, but I'll cheat. I'll keep the undisable here in case we put some more stuff later. Why not? Alright, let's give this a try. Hopefully our wishes are gonna come true. Okay, so we got this one, and we have a coin line right here that didn't actually spawn, so that's really annoying because the chances to spawn on this one is 1. Like it's supposed to be 100%. Same thing here, same thing here. Okay, so completely the opposite of what we had a second ago. Now nothing spawns. Let's figure out why. Alright, so it turns out I actually inverted this thing right here. So if it goes beyond the amount of chances we have to spawn, then let's go ahead and ignore, because it's more than the amount of chance we have. And yeah, so this is now flipped. We have another problem I also realize, and that problem is the fact that we'd like to actually force this one to have 3 coins all the time. So we would be hitting force all spawn, but if we do that, it's gonna spawn all the 5 token. Like if we actually go back here, go on center ramp, you don't have to do this, I just want to show you. If we do a force all spawn on this one, it's gonna spawn all 5, but we have a maximum coin of 3, so that's kind of annoying. Of course, let's go ahead and fix that. So if we are on force all spawn, let's simply take this loop instead. So we'll do a for as long as I is smaller than max coin. Then we can say coin at the index I is now active. Just like this. Okay, so in terms of the segment we have, I'd like to take the one, say the center ramp, this one. I'd like to actually make this one on force all spawn, so we always have 3 token there. So let's go under coin line, force all spawn, 3 token, 100% of the time. So it's always gonna be there with 3 token. Now let's hit apply on this one, and I'm gonna be having a look at the center 10, this one. Just for my testing purpose, I've set this one also on force all spawn. I don't want that, obviously. We're gonna disable force all spawn and say chances to spawn this 75, you know. Just playing around with the tweaking. I just wanted to remove this thing, hit apply, and then we should be good to go. Oh, maybe actually push it a little bit further. There we go. Apply. Right, so if we try this thing now, it should fix all our last problem. As you can tell, we do have some coin here. Only 2 when it could be a max of 3, and here we always have 3. And it's always going to be like that. You can loot these 3 at any moment. Now let's see if the spawning actually works. So as we progress in the game, I keep on spawning this. As you can tell, there is some on the floor, and there's also some here. Now for some reason there's only 1 token here. That is some weird stuff. I have the feeling that if we loot them, they don't really reappear. But definitely there was a problem over there, because we were supposed to have 3 token on top of the bridge, on top of the train at all time. I like the fact that I called them train even though it's not even close to being a train. So here that's normal. We might have random amount in between 1 and 0, 1 and 3, sorry. Now if we loot these 3, and we just keep on playing, see if we have the same error as we did a second ago. So as you can tell in the back of there, it feels like it spawns everything. Let's have a look in the actual scene. So yeah, I have 3 tokens over here, but on this one, I have none, which is quite weird. It should actually spawn everything. Now, what's going on this one? Let's have a look. Coin 1, 2, and 3, they're present. They are right there. They're active. The only problem is that they have nothing beneath it. For some reason, the mesh don't actually spawn. And I just realized it is not weird. It's because we actually delete them inside of the coin. Something we're gonna have to stop doing from now on. So let's go ahead and just drop a coin anywhere. Find the script. Where's the script? Coin script. So just open up the coin script and let's make sure we don't destroy this game object. If we do, then it just never comes back. And since we're like in the pull mechanic, if you pull something that we used in the past, then definitely this one's gonna be deleted forever. Something we don't want to do. Okay, so what is going to happen now? Is that gonna be fine? I'm gonna be testing this and I'll come back to you fairly soon. Okay, so next update we have is the coins are still there. The mesh is there this time. That's fairly cool. But that mesh is actually stuck inside of the disappearing animation. So once we do enable, let's actually make sure that this coin is actually on the good trigger, right? So it's actually on the good state in the state machine. So I'll just open up the coin again, go under mesh, go under the animator, and what is the state? It's called rotate. Okay, so we gotta make sure that whenever whenever this object is being enabled, we can actually go straight to rotate. So I'm gonna go over here under the parameters, create a new one, trigger, and I'll just call this spawn. And any state, make a transition from any state to rotate. The condition is going to be, of course, spawn. And we're going to make sure we actually call this on the coin by going under the coin script once more. And we have a start. We do have a start. We have a on trigger enter. Let's create a on enable. So private void on enable. And in here we'll say anim set trigger spawn. And hopefully that fixes all our problems. So just like I did a second ago, I'm gonna go test this out and I'll be back to you really soon. Now when we press play, we have a bunch of null reference exception, and that's because we probably do something, well, unenable is actually being called before the start, which is something I didn't do before, so I'm going to swap over my start to an awake. And now the proper order should be executed. We should have the we have the proper thing actually. We still have an error based on lighting, that's something else though. So just like I did a second ago, I'm gonna go test this out and I'll be back to you fairly soon. Okay, so now third update. So we do have our coin, we're in the proper animation as you can tell because it rotates and that's what the animation is supposed to do. You can see it here as well. But the only problem we have right now is the scale is still 0. So if we put that on 111, it would be fixed, but right now we can't since it is being animated. So our problem right here is that the fact that the rotate animation doesn't actually put the coin back on 1 in scale. So I'm going to find the rotate animation. It's right here. Click on rotate coin. Try to open this one by itself in the animation window. So window, where is animation? Here. And now we have the rotate coin. That rotate coin, I'm going to add a property to it. How do I go about doing this? I have to stop the game first. Okay, that's one. Now I am going to just drop a coin anywhere. Click on the mesh. And once we have that, we are now able to add a property. Okay, so let's add a property for transform and scale. Make sure the scale is on 1. And I think that's all we really need. Yep, I think that's really all we need. Okay. Let's try this once more. So I'm going to be collecting these. Hopefully this time there is no more errors. Again, I'll be back in a moment. Alright, so I've been playing for a little while now, as you can tell by the score, the amount of token I've collected, and I haven't seen any problem with the spawning of these. So there's always 3 tokens on here at all time. And yeah, so I think we actually managed to make this work eventually. Alright, so next up in this episode, we're gonna go ahead and just take a little break out of these for a second. We're gonna go make some prefab in a different scene. So I'll be opening up my scene folder. We'll be booting up the gym one more time, and I'm going to be deleting everything in here. Don't need anything, don't even need the actual light. Well, maybe with you. Whatever, let's just make this one clean, right? Oh, and also remove the skybox under window, lighting settings, and then skybox material is nothing. So what we'll be doing right here is we're going to be laying down our segments. Segment 1, 2, and 3. Now let's go under the inspector and actually have a look at them. There's one right here. I'll be taking this other one, putting it on the side. I'll just split everything by around 10 meters. So make sure my pivot point is always here on a little cross. And like this, I can actually modify these prefab more easily. And it's going to be reflected in the other scene as well. So we might want to have an actual light in here. Or we can just turn off this. Yep, let's actually just turn off the scene lighting. And we can have a look at this now from a really easier perspective. So I'd like to actually create another one as well since we're here. And it's going to be a center jump. I'll just call it center jump. Could be 15 meters as well, doesn't really matter to me. And for this one, I'd like to actually remove the slide and actually turn that into an actual jump. So if I go under a pieces spawner, find the jump, put it right here beneath this guy, and we can move it, say right about there. That could work. We can even have 2 jumps for all that matters. That'd be a little bit complicated, is it? Is it too hard? What if I just split them apart a little bit more like that? That should be fine. Now, the reason I wanted to have another segment in the first place is simply because I like to put some coin in the arc. So for center jump, I'll leave it here right now. I don't want to save it just yet because we're missing one thing, and that one thing is going to be some more coin. So let's go and add the coin spawner. So let's go under the coin spawner. Let's drop a coin line, and this one is also going to be renamed. So coin arc this time, and 5. So there's going to be 5 coin in an arc around this thing. And let's just make sure we don't do any mistake. I'm going to drag this under the center jump, reset the position, and we are going to create a very, very small arc with that jump. So maybe 3 coin is enough for that arc. I just want to make sure everything is perfect. I'll be also make sure you actually clean up your value up here. So say this one is 125 or 1.5 actually. And now for the next one, the value could be 3. So simple arc like this. I'm going to be removing the 2 other one, rename this for coin arc 3, since there's only 3, there's not more than that, right? And there'll be a little coin arc. We can go and individually save this somewhere else. But first off, let's make sure we have the proper value. Max coin is going to be 3. Chances to spawn, and it could be something like 0.25 or, yeah, 0.25. Something really small for that one. And then I'll go ahead and save this individually under coin spawner. Now take the center jump and save it beneath the segment. So guys, that is actually where we're going to be ending this episode. Actually, I lied. We're going to be integrating this new segment. But then after that, we'll be taking a small break and we'll head back to curving the world. Something I said I was going to do this episode, which I didn't do because we had to do a little bit of coin before that. But yeah, let's go under the game manager. Or is it the game manager? No, the level manager. Add a new available segment, and this one is going to be our new prefab, the center slide 15. Actually, center jump 15, which makes me think we have not modified the actual data in there. So let's drop the center jump. Length is 15. Beginning is also 0 everywhere. We end 1. So all the values right here are actually fine. So that is a good thing. And that's all we need, I believe. Right. So luckily for us, all the values were the same. Let's go ahead and launch this game, see how it looks now. We still have the same baking error, something we'll fix later on. And let's see if we do have our rocks right now. We do have our rocks right here. It doesn't seem like, oh, it's actually a really bad design, I just realized. But it doesn't seem like it's found anything in these one, which kind of suck. At the same time, it has a very low chance of spawning it, so I'll just give this one more try. Maybe fix the prefab, like this prefab here. Having a rock at the beginning might not be the smartest option for us. So what if we go on the jump? Let's actually remove this first one. Yep, remove, and then save. Something we could have done in the gym as well. Okay, and we're lucky enough to have a coin right here spawning, so oops, I messed up my jump, but we have some coins right here. Alright guys, this is actually where we're going to be ending today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Click on the video right now on the screen to head over to the next one. And in the next one, I'm not lying this time, we're actually going to bend the whole world. So look forward to that. Other than that, please check out the links in the description down below to help us do whatever it is that we do here. And I will be catching you in the next one. Cheers.